Hey, what's up fam? Welcome back to the channel. I received an email from one of my subscribers here on the YouTube channel, and he was reaching out because he wants some advice on his financial situation. Now, normally I would recommend to that particular subscriber that, he meet with me on a one-on-one situation where we can spend an hour and really dive into his situation, and I can give him some feedback and some recommendations so that he can go forward and achieve his financial goals. But I thought today, why not do a video on that? Now, of course, this is going to be a short video, so I'm not going to be able to go into all the details that I would go into with that subscriber in a one-on-one 1-hour session. But nevertheless, let's dive into it, and I'm going to show you guys or talk to you guys about some of the recommendations and advice that I would give this particular subscriber. The subscriber is 30 years old. He has $86,000 in debt. He currently makes about $2,500 a month after taxes. He has about $4,000 in savings, and he also participates in his employer's 401k plan. Now, this particular subscriber, his financial goals over the next 5 years is to be debt-free and have $500,000 in net worth or savings, and that's where he's asking me to chime in and walk him through some of my recommendations to get him to his ultimate financial goal in 5 years. Now, this particular subscriber also has done some online educational courses. He's also read some of Dave Ramsey's books. He's also read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So he's been out there trying to get knowledge and then certainly implement that knowledge. And that's where he's running into a snag, in my opinion. And I tell you guys that all the time. You can go out and find all the knowledge you want, but if you can't funnel that knowledge down and then apply it to your situation, what good is it? So let's keep moving along. The first thing I would recommend for this particular subscriber to do is sit down and put a personal budget together. We already know what his income is, which is $2,500 a month, but I would encourage him to write out all of his expenses. And the reason I want him to do that is because initially that's where the money is going to come from to pay down his debt. So he would write down all of his expenses and then weed out those things that he's using his $2,500 for that are not essential items. Essential items like food, shelter, transportation, insurance. So once he weeds out these unnecessary expenses, I think, in my opinion, if he can save between $500 and $1,000 a month, so he would reduce his expenses to no more than $1,500 a month. Then he would take that $1,000, and that's the $1,000 he will initially start with to trying to start accelerating pay down of his debt. Now, the next thing I would recommend that he do is rank his debt. What I mean by that is I would ask him to consider stack ranking his debt from the highest interest rate debt to the lowest interest rate debt. Now, his current $86,000 in debt includes a car note, student loans, and medical expenses. Now, when I look at those three categories of debt, first one I look at is student loan debt. Now, if it's federal student loan debt, there may be an opportunity for him to consolidate that federal student loan debt. And since we're in this pandemic right now, the federal government for student loan debt has said, look, we're going to defer your payments until September 2020. So no interest will accrue and you won't owe any payments. So if he has federal student loan debt, that's a good option for him to take advantage of that program. Next thing I would look at is the car loan to see what type of interest rate he has on it. And then we would look at the medical debt as well. Another thing I would ask him to do is to talk to whoever the medical debt is through and see if he can consolidate that. Because normally with the medical debt, as long as it's not in collections, they're not really trying to hit you with a high interest rate. They just really want their money paid back. And a lot of times they don't even charge you an interest rate. They just put you on a repayment plan. So nevertheless, I would stack rank the debt from highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. And then I would take the $1,000 and I would start systematically paying down that debt with that $1,000 a month I saved from streamlining my expenses. The next thing he'll need to do to continue accelerating payoff of that $86,000, he's gonna go out and create more income. He's gonna need to get a second job, or he's gonna need to open an eBay store, or do some type of online surveys, or nevertheless, he's gonna need to create more income. And let's say he was able to do that and he created an additional $1,000 in income. So now he has $1,000 from streamlining his expenses. He has $1,000 more coming in from additional sources of income that he's created. Now he has $2,000 per month to dedicate to paying down that $86,000 in debt. Now, if he can do that, he will pay off the $86,000 in debt in 3 years if he's doing the $24,000 per year. If he can boost that to $3,000 per month, then he has $36,000 a year to put towards accelerated pay down of that debt. And see, here's the key. I would focus all of my money on paying down that debt. Once I get past my essential expenses, I would take everything else along with the extra money that I'm gonna have to create, because here it is, guys, you're gonna have to create some extra money in order to make this work. You can sit there and do it at the $1,000 per month and not create more income, but it's gonna take you about 7 years to pay off this $86,000 of debt doing it that way. So my recommendation to him is to go out and create more money. And if you can do an additional 1,000, great. If you can do an additional 2,000, that's even better. That just cuts down and collapses the time it will take him to pay this debt off. Let's say he did the $2,000 per month, and it takes him 3 years. So in 3 years, he's debt free. Now he'll take that $24,000 he was paying down the debt with, and he will start focusing on putting that money into assets that will create that $500,000 he's looking for in 5 years. Now, one of my recommendations would be open a brokerage account and start investing that money in some type of mutual fund, index fund, or exchange traded funds. He certainly can do individual stocks if he has an appetite for that. Now, before he does that, I would recommend he speak with a licensed investment advisor to help him set that account up and, diversify that money that'll be going into that actual investment portfolio. If he does that and he gets a modest 6% return over the next 10 years, he will have saved $475,000 in the next 10 years. By investing $36,000 per year over the next 10 years. So that would be one of the recommendations I would have for him. Now, obviously, that's not going to get to his 5-year plan that he's looking for, but my recommendation would tell him to be more realistic and increase that time horizon for the $500,000. Could he do it in 5 years? Yes. But in order to do it in 5 years, he's going to have to put about $90K away every single year at a 6% minimum return over the next 5 years in order to get to $500,000. Can he do it? Absolutely. But he has to make that decision to do it. My recommendation again would be do it in 10 years. Don't stress yourself out. Give yourself 10 years to do it. Put $3,000 a month away, which is $36,000 a year over the next 10 years at a 6% rate of return, and you will be in a position to have about $475,000 and be debt free. Now, another option would be you could do it in real estate. But real estate, let's be real here. You would have to have at least $2 million worth of real estate and be receiving at least the 5% cap rate to net $100,000 per year. Could he do that? Absolutely. But let's think about it. if you're going to have $2 million in real estate, at minimum, you'll need to put down at least 20% into that real estate of your own money in most cases, which represents about $400,000 that he would need to put into the deal in order to get a $2 million, to be able to leverage a $2 million deal. The bank would lend him 1.6, he'd have to put 400,000 in. Again, you still got to save money in order to do that. So I think the best option for him is to take the $36,000, open the brokerage account, get some professional help, and then start investing that money on a consistent basis over the next 10 years. That'll get him close to his $500,000. Well, guys, again, this was a short video to kind of walk you guys through some of the stuff I do with folks in my financial mentoring and coaching sessions that I offer through my company, RF Financial Consulting LLC. This is one example. At some point in the future, I'm sure I will be having a session with this particular subscriber, because I think we can put him on the right pathway to reach his financial success that he wants to reach over the next 5 or 10 years. If you guys are looking for help, give me a shot. Like I said, this is what I do. I have 25 years of banking experience dealing with high net worth individuals and helping them finance hundreds of million dollars in commercial real estate. I know my way around a personal financial statement. I know my way around business financials. I know my way around the lending space, because I've lent, like I said, hundreds of millions of dollars over the last 25 years to folks just like you. Well, thank you guys for taking some time out today to stop by the channel and check out this video. I hope it was helpful. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, and smash that like button. It helps the channel and it helps me too. Thoughts become things. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness and never stop believing in yourself. And I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.